All right, let's just get right into it. Welcome back to Zak Wealth Files. If you're new here, my whole mission is to make wealth building simple, incredibly accurate, and actually useful for you. Today, we are unpacking a massive, unspoken reality in personal finance. I call it the hardest money paradox. It is literally the bottleneck that stops 99% of people from ever reaching true financial freedom. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why it happens, and more importantly, how you can finally beat it. So let me ask you a question. Look at these two milestones. Which one is actually harder to hit? Almost everyone gets obsessed with that shiny $1 million net worth. But the brutal truth? Generating your first 10 grand in a single month requires a violent, friction-heavy escape from a standard life. Going from that solid cash flow to your first million in assets, though, honestly, that's largely just automated math and patience.
Listen, to understand why this paradox exists, we kind of have to look at the physics of how money is actually made. We can split your wealth building journey into two distinct stages, the labor phase and the capital phase. Right now, we really need to focus on what keeps you trapped in that first one. From $0 to $10,000 a month, you're entirely in the labor phase, stuck in what I call the gravity well. Think about aerospace, right? A rocket burns like 80% of its total fuel just to break through the lower atmosphere. Well, your financial life works the exact same way. Say you've got a standard job making 60 grand a year, taking home about 4,000 bucks a month. Your rent, groceries, basic life maintenance, they consume almost all of your financial oxygen. You are burning all your fuel just to stay on the gravity well, and that leaves you with a tiny surplus to actually buy your freedom.
So to hit that 10K a month mark, you absolutely must decouple your income from the hours on a clock. You can't just work 2.5 times harder, right? There's only 24 hours in a day, and an employer has already capped what your time is worth. You need to hit escape velocity to generate the massive surplus capital required to actually fund your future capital phase.
Now, breaking the gravity well, it doesn't happen by accident, and it definitely doesn't rely on a trust fund, a viral lottery ticket, or gambling on random coins. It requires focused, deliberate action. Vehicle number one is high-income skill stacking. This means aggressively moving from a commodity role where you're, let's face it, easily replaceable to a highly specialized role. We're talking about upskilling into something like enterprise B2B software sales, specialized tech consulting, or high-end copywriting. The framework here is super straightforward. Become so incredibly good at solving an expensive problem for businesses that they happily pay you over 120 grand a year. Yeah, it generally takes 3 to 5 years of deliberate focus, but it is a highly reliable path.
Okay, vehicle number two is the asymmetric side hustle. If your day job is completely capped, you need a secondary engine that gives you digital leverage. Let me be clear, driving for Uber is not going to cut it, because that's still linear labor. Instead, you want to build an asset. Maybe it's a niche digital product, a specialized newsletter, or a productized design agency. Something you build once and sell infinitely. You run this thing in the background to generate an extra 4 to 5 grand a month, stacking it right on top of your day job. And then we have vehicle number three, the boring business. Look, you probably won't end up on the cover of Forbes anytime soon with this one, but it brilliantly illustrates the power of operational competence over just having a genius-level IQ. We're talking about acquiring or operating unglamorous, cash-flowing local services, things like landscaping, power washing, or bookkeeping. If you are willing to manage people and put solid systems in place, a well-run local service business can easily clear 10 grand a month in owner's draw within an 18 to 24-month timeline.
All right, let's shift gears to the brutal wealth math. This is where we move from the labor phase into the capital phase.
Let's say you've put in the grueling work and you are finally bringing in 10 grand a month after taxes. Okay, here is the absolute secret. You must hold your lifestyle at the exact same $5,000 per month level it was at before. If you can keep your living expenses entirely frozen, you are now generating a massive $5,000 monthly surplus, and that surplus gets pumped directly into the capital phase. Let's look at the brutal, beautiful math of that surplus. Historically speaking, on average, if you invest that 5 grand monthly surplus into a broad, low-cost index fund, averaging an 8% annualized return, well, it only takes roughly 10.5 years to hit your first $1 million. Just 10.5 years. And remember, during those 10 years, your career or your business is likely still growing. If you manage to scale that investment up to, say, $7,000 or $8,000 a month, that timeline shrinks even further. Now, before we go any further, I want to clearly state a non-negotiable reality here on Zak Wealth Files. This explainer is for general educational purposes. These numbers are illustrative historical estimates. They are not guarantees. Look, real business is messy. Markets crash, and all investing carries risk. I am teaching you a mathematical framework here, but you should absolutely always consult a licensed advisor for personalized financial or tax advice for your specific situation. Gotta be smart about this stuff.
So, why do people who successfully fight their way to that 10K mark still fail to reach $1 million? Well, it almost always comes down to 4 specific traps that completely wipe out their surplus. Trap number 1 is the lifestyle creep treadmill. You hit the milestone, you feel like you deserve a reward, and boom, suddenly you have an $800 car payment and a $3,500 luxury apartment. Your net worth stays dead at zero. Trap 2 is shiny object syndrome. Instead of pushing through the really hard friction to get your side hustles to 10K, you abandon it for the illusion of an easier model you saw online. Again, stuck at zero. Trap 3, the passive income delusion. This is when people gamble their tiny surplus on speculative crypto, crossing their fingers for a 100x return just to skip the hard work. Listen, passive income is the result of wealth, not the cause. And finally, trap 4, ignoring the tax drag. If you move to freelance or business income, you absolutely must set aside roughly 30% for 1099 taxes, or a massive bill from the IRS will pull you right back down into the gravity well.
Let's just cut through all the noise. If you want to use this math, you need a highly practical action plan. Step 1, audit your physics. You have to accept your current income limits if you're tied to an hourly wage. Step 2, pick one vehicle. Whether it's skill stacking, an asymmetric side hustle, or a boring business, pick one and fully commit to it for 24 solid months. No distractions. Step 3, build the surplus dam. The absolute second your income rises, artificially freeze your lifestyle so you catch every single dollar of that new surplus. And step 4, automate the capital phase. Set up automated transfers that move your surplus into index funds the very day after you get paid. Let the machine do the heavy lifting for you. You see the first $1 million? It's not a mountain you have to climb. It's simply a destination you arrive at by refusing to interrupt the compounding machine you built. The million is just the echo. The $10,000 a month, that is the shout. It will test your character, it'll test your work ethic, but it is the absolute key to your freedom. So I'm leaving you with a decision to make right now. Which of those 3 vehicles are you going to commit to so you can finally break the gravity well? Let me know in the comments below. Take action, and I'll see you in the next explainer.